Lee and his brother were eventually caught and arrested by the local authorities, but Willie managed to slip away, and about that time started going by the name Pinetop, after Clarence Pinetop Smith, the leading boogie-woogie piano player of the day. Pinetop was feeling the heat back home from the authorities, and so he moved to Clarksdale, Mississippi about 1940 to work on Hobson's plantation. But he didn't stop playing music. Like so many of the black musicians of that time in Mississippi, he spent long, hard days in the cotton fields driving a tractor.
Yeah, I really did some work out here. I picked some cotton with a cotton pick machine. Sometimes I could pick 100 pounds, sometimes I couldn't. Work all day for 50 cents. That's what it is. When you can't get over to what you want or whatsoever. You got the blues if you can't sing them. When I first started playing music, I was down on the plantation. Charlie Patton was staying out there on the same plantation we was on. He was a good guitar picker and blues singer. Yeah, shoot, I got that real guitar and started playing like them, different ones. Oh, I played for people's parties and things like that, you know, and different things, and they'd hire me. Now, that time, I loved to drink my whiskey. Pay me a little something and give me as much whiskey as I could drink. Make me drunk. And I started playing guitar first, and wound up on piano. I liked the piano best, and I switched over to it.
But he first was a guitar player for my dad. So they played along together, off and on. They go from the juke to juke and play on the weekend. I thought they was having the best time of their life.
Hey, Yak.
They could have a place called The Hole in the Wall. That was the main place to play. They'd all get together up there, and I guess everybody get a drink, you know.
It's just a hole in the wall.
During the early 40s, Pinetop continued to play the local juke joints and holes in the wall with Robert Nighthawk and various other local musicians, playing both guitar and piano. Around this time, he also met up with Earl Hooker, a young teenage guitar player from Clarksdale, with whom he would form a long and sometimes troubled partnership. Both he and Hooker played a lot around Tutwiler, Mississippi, with Pinetop playing guitar and Lee Kizart playing the piano. Here you can see one of the shacks where Pinetop and his band members would stay while playing one of the many juke joints in Tutwiler. The 1940s also saw the beginning of World War II, and during the time that Pinetop was working at Hobson's, truckloads of young men like him were being shipped off to battle. Fortunately for Pinetop, cotton was in great demand during the war, and his services on the plantation were sorely needed.
When I used to be on this plantation here, I liked what they did for me. They had me on a training camp bus where they take me to the Army. Man come out there with names on the paper. Mine was in it to get them off. get those boys off. They got about some of the people off, so I was in the bunch. And so when I was coming on back home here, at Hobson Piano Company, I was told the boys, say, hey man, say what? They don't know what? They said, what, that Willie? I said, I wouldn't mind fighting for my uncle, but I didn't ever know I had an uncle named Sam. Boy, they just laughing at me.
You better be careful how you take a seat. Don't never forget about the money you be done spent. When you get back home, you can hardly pay your rent, and that's true.
During the war years, Pinetop continued to work on Hobson's plantation, playing mostly with Earl Hooker and Robert Nighthawk in his spare time. By this time, Robert Nighthawk had become established as one of the more popular blues guitarists in the region and had gained enough of a following to win him a spot on the KFFA radio program being broadcast out of Helena, Arkansas. Helena was an important port town on the Mississippi River, and grain from the Midwest was shipped there and made into flour by several local flour companies. The Bright Star Flower Company was one of the sponsors of the KFFA radio show, and they hired Nighthawk to play live blues sets over the air to promote their flower products. In 1943, Robert asked Pinetop to play with him on the show, so Pinetop made the trip to Helena, just a short ferry ride across the river from Mississippi. During the 1940s, Helena, Arkansas had become a booming port on the banks of the Mississippi River, and it was drawing black musicians from all around the Delta with its rowdy juke joints and bustling gambling halls. Crowds would fill the streets, especially in the fall during cotton harvest time, when the plantation workers would ferry across the river to what was for them the closest big city and the best place to spend their meager paychecks.
Oh man, Helena like you see in there every day. Every day. The streets are so crowded you can hardly walk 7 days a week.
It was in Helena that the King Biscuit Time radio show was first broadcast in 1941. Sponsored by the local King Biscuit Flower Company, it featured live performances by such blues legends as Sonny Boy Williamson and Robert Jr. Lockwood. More importantly, it was the first regular radio show to feature live blues music, and it proved to be a major influence on generations of blues artists. Pinetop's big break came when he was asked to play with Sonny Boy Williamson on the King Biscuit Time radio show. Since Pinetop wasn't getting paid for playing with Robert Nighthawk, it was an opportunity he couldn't pass up, and so he left Robert to go play on Sonny Boy's show.
Me and Robert Nighthawk went over in Helena and started playing over there on the radio station. And Sonny Boy's boss man heard me playing over there with Robert. And we wasn't doing nothing but advertising what a band was. We wasn't getting paid off it. Mother's Best Flower. This man heard me over there. He told this boy to go come over there and tell me he'd pay me to play on the air with him. And I told Robert, "Hey man, I gotta go, man. I gotta go. We gotta get this money, man." He said, "Oh, I hate for you to go with it." Yeah, I said, "Okay." He let me win.
Pinetop joined the band, which was called the King Biscuit Entertainers, around 1943. Besides playing on Sonny Boy's radio show, Pinetop also got to travel with the King Biscuit Entertainers around the Delta while they promoted King Biscuit Flour and Sonny Boy Meal, which was named in honor of Sonny Boy Williamson.
What I remember about Helena back in the early 40s, I remember things being kind of rough, and we only had one black theater. This was in Helena, Arkansas, so we only had one black theater there, and it was called the Miller Theater. And I met Pinetop right somewhere around that general area time, because my stepdad at the time, that was his thing to listen to the King Biscuit Hour, King Biscuit Minute, because it wasn't on but 15 minutes. Every day it was on 15 minutes.
In fact, I think they were this is the first radio station that African Americans could ever play on, and so started back in 1941. And I was a kid growing up in this area, and Pinetop and all the King Biscuit Entertainers used to come around on a truck and play at all the grocery stores in the county, and then go over in Mississippi and play. That's before they had the bridge over here. And I've heard Pinetop and Robert say that, sometimes they'd be playing in Mississippi and you'd have to get back to the ferry, quit running at 12 o'clock at night. And Pinetop said if you got caught on the other side, you had to sit over there and fight the mosquitoes till 6 o'clock next morning until the ferry ran.
And you taught Ike Turner to play piano, right? You taught Ike how to play.
Yeah, I taught him how to play when I was working out here.
And Ernest Lane and I was coming home from school, and we had to pass by his daddy's house. And as we were walking down the streets, before we made it to his daddy's house, we heard all this noise. And we didn't really know what it was. And I said, "Man, it sounds like it's coming from your daddy's house." Lane said, "Yeah." So we ran across the street. And, a lot of people were standing on the front porch and cars and things out there. And so we went around to the window and looked through the window because we couldn't get in the front door. And I saw this boy playing this piano. And boy, he was playing, and I couldn't see his fingers. He just fascinated me, man, to see somebody's fingers move like that. I'm telling you, I never seen it before. How you know what he's doing, and he just looking at it and ripping across the keys.
Hey!
Playing with Sonny Boy Williamson and the King Biscuit Entertainers proved to be an important turning point for Pinetop's career. But an even bigger turning point came during an unfortunate misunderstanding he had with a chorus girl in a Helena hotel room. After being locked in the bathroom for several hours by her ex-husband, the girl managed to break out, and Pinetop was in the wrong place at the wrong time. The girl lashed out at him with a knife, thinking that he had locked her in the bathroom, and she managed to cut a huge gash in his left arm. The knife severed his bicep tendon, nearly ending his career as a musician.
She catches a razor, boy, and she takes a knife. Seems like now she want to take my life.
I believe the lady that cut him in the arm, I believe her name was Mickey.
My right hand still works pretty good, but my left one don't.
So back then, you know, African Americans couldn't go to a hospital. There wasn't any hospital for blacks, you know. And so they had to, he said, Mr. Sam Anderson, who owned the radio station, Mr. Max Moore, owned Interstate Grocery, and they were the sponsors of King Biscuit Time. And I don't know which one called out the hospital and said, take him out there, because he didn't want a one-armed guitar player. And so they fixed Pinetop up, and he didn't say, but it probably kind of saved his life.
I used to have bass roaring like thunder on the piano until that happened. I can't do it no more.
Call me Pinetop Perkins. Some of them call me to grind your vein. Some of them call me Pinetop Perkins. Some of them call me to grind your vein. Let you have it quiet and easy. I'll let you have it on an easy plan. Got so many customers. Take me a whole week to get around. It'll take me a whole week to get around. Now do you an easy, darling, because I ain't going to let you down. Sure ain't. Some of them call me Pinetop. Some of them call me the Ground Man. Now let's have it quiet and easy. No, easy. customers. Take me a whole week to get around used to. Got so many customers. Till they take me a whole week to get around. Now don't be on the easy, darling. Because I ain't going to let you down.
At the end of the 1940s, Pinetop stayed in Clarksdale but left the King Biscuit Players to join up with his old friends Robert Nighthawk and Earl Hooker on the familiar juke joint circuit. During these years, he often played with the saxophonist Raymond Hill, whose parents owned several of the juke joints around Clarksdale. Around this time, Pinetop also played a lot in Memphis with Earl Hooker and a young Ike Turner. Memphis, Tennessee lies at the northern end of the Mississippi Delta, and it was another major blues town in those days, drawing musicians from around the South. But the end of the 40s also saw a continued migration of people from the southern cotton fields to the more industrialized cities in the north. The Great Migration, as it's been called, continued throughout the 40s and 50s, and Pinetop himself moved up to Cairo, Illinois in 1949.
Well, when the people started moving up north, trying to get away from out down in here, when they had so many tractors around here, they didn't need them to pick no cotton and full corn no more. And see whatever, and that made them move north. And you try to find something to do there.
Cairo was situated midway between Chicago and the Delta, and it was considered to be where the North began for rural Southern blacks. According to Pinetop, it was a small town but had a whole lot of music and a whole lot of black people. Situated at the nexus of two major rivers, there were plenty of barges, and people came to work the barges and spend their money in the town. During his time in Cairo, Pinetop survived by working as a car mechanic, fixing radiators during the day and scrounging for musical gigs at night with his old pals Earl Hooker and Robert Nighthawk, as well as other musicians who passed through town.
I could fix a car, back them old cars right there. I could work on them. Went on to move in town, started playing music and stuff, trying to make it.
But not only he a piano player, he probably don't want nobody to know this. He's a lady player too. I remember some thing about Pinetop. At Pinetop, I had promised I wasn't gonna say this, but I lied. I gotta tell this. Pinetop and I were playing in a place down in Havana Club many years ago. There was a guy called Moose John, was playing keyboard player. Another drummer, was a drummer, was with us, and called Tony. So Pinetop introduced Tony to this fine woman, and it was not a woman, looked like a woman. While she was dressed, man, she had a leg crossed, and Pinetop said, "Hey, man, that's a fine chick you talking to." And Pinetop, knowing that that this was one of whatever, and the hunch of me, he said, "Bobby Roy said, let him die into that, man, because I know that's not a lady." And I looked at her, it looked so good. I said, "Pinetop, that's a woman." Pinetop said, "No, that's not a woman." I said, "How can you tell, Pinetop?" He said, "Man, look at her feet, man. Feet like violin cases." I said, "Pinetop." When I did look, sure enough, Pinetop was right. So that night we went to the hotel. 1 o'clock in the night. By 4 o'clock in the morning, Tony came, knocked on the door. Boom, 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 knocking on the door. I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Man, I knocked on Pinetop's door and he didn't answer. He just laughed at me." I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Man, who I thought was a chick, this not a lady, man, that's a man." I said, "Go ask Pinetop what you should do." He knocked on the door. Pinetop, this not a woman. This is a guy, man, dressed up like that." So Pinetop said, "Well, what you gonna do?" Tony said, "Well, hey, man, I spend too much time now to let her go." And Pinetop came in and embraced me laughing about it. I said, Pinetop, you a dirty man to let the man go that far and spend all his money on another man. So those are the things. I promise I ain't gonna never tell that. But Pinetop, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Just like it.
After moving to Cairo in 1949, Pinetop visited Chicago, which had been absorbing waves of immigrants from the South for many years, and was also developing its own style of blues as Southern-born musicians flocked to the bustling post-war metropolis. Robert Nighthawk was one of those musicians, and he recorded several sessions for the Chicago label Chess Records, the preeminent blues label of the 50s and 60s. In 1950, Robert brought Pinetop up to Chicago to accompany him on the recording of Jacksontown Gal, which was released on the Chess-owned Aristocrat label. Chess Records was also considered the home of the electric blues, and Earl Hooker was one of the key proponents of the amplified guitar sound that was coming out of Chicago. Earl was also known for cranking up the volume and doing wild tricks like playing behind his back or playing with his teeth. Unfortunately for Pinetop, he was standing right in front of Earl's amplifier one night when the amp blew up. The sonic blast was so powerful that it ruptured Pinetop's eardrum, an experience so painful that he said it felt like someone stabbed an ice pick into his ear. Despite losing nearly 50% of his hearing, Pinetop wasn't deterred from the musical path. During the early 50s, he toured with Ike Turner, who had become a big success in his own right, recording hits like Rocket 88 and gaining a wide following on the R&B circuit. Pinetop played a lot with Ike, and he also displayed his diversity as a musician by playing drums behind Ike's girlfriend Bonnie.
Back in those days, you didn't play 4 hours or 1 hour and you go home. It's like you had to play. If it was 3 musicians, like a drum, guitar, and a bass, well, then you had to play each one of them because you don't have an intermission or nothing. And so if you want to go to the restroom, then if the drummer want to go to the restroom, that means if you're a piano player, you got to play the piano until he come back. Everybody had to switch around. And so that's how Pinetop played the drums with me. And I think I saw him play with Sonny Boy Williams also.
After returning to his home in Cairo in the summer of 1953, Pinetop traveled to Memphis to accompany Earl Hooker on a recording session for Sam Phillips' label Sun Records. At the end of the session, Earl convinced Pinetop to record the song Pinetop's Boogie Woogie that was originally recorded by Clarence Pinetop Smith in 1928. Smith was one of the pioneers of the boogie woogie piano style, and Pinetop had learned this song by listening to Clarence's record many years earlier. Pinetop spent a lot of time in Cairo, but by the late 1950s he branched northward to St. Louis, another busy port town, where he began playing with O'Neill Johnson's band known as Johnny O'Neill and the Hound Dogs. According to Pinetop, it was the best band in St. Louis at the time. They played all over St. Louis for several years, and they frequented a bar on the Missouri side called the Moonlight Inn. Johnny O'Neill and the Hound Dogs gained a strong local following until about 1960, when Pinetop left St. Louis and moved up to Chicago. By this time, Chicago had become ground zero for the blues, and many established artists who went there had become famous around the country, as well as the rest of the world. White America began to discover the blues, and the sound was widely emulated by white American and European musicians for the first time. The electrified guitar was a mainstay in the Chicago blues sound, and Earl Hooker continued to be one of the most innovative guitar players. In 1968, Earl and Pinetop recorded the classic album 2 Bugs and a Roach, with Pinetop playing piano and organ behind Earl's wicked guitar licks. But an even bigger presence in Chicago in the late 60s was the Muddy Waters Band. Muddy also came from Mississippi and had grown up working on a plantation. He was only 2 years younger than Pinetop, and he was heavily influenced by Robert Nighthawk's guitar style, which he grew up listening to back in Mississippi. Muddy was also familiar with Pinetop's piano playing, even though the two had not played together much. By chance, Muddy's piano player, Otis Spann, had left the band to go solo around 1969, and Muddy needed a new piano player. Pinetop was in Chicago at the right time, and Muddy asked him to join the band the same year.
And Muddy heard me playing over there. The Spann hadn't got her own band, so he come over there and got me.
Pine was playing there. Pine was the opening act for us. And that's when Muddy had spoke to Pine about coming into the band. And then Pine came into the band when we got back to Chicago. Spann had left.
I started with him and played with him about 11 years. Oh, we went everywhere. Oh, he had it all overseas, everywhere. All in places I can't call the name of them.
Muddy and Pine hit it off right away. You know, Muddy used to call Pine old man. And I don't know who was older though, but Muddy called, come on over here, old man, and let's play some cards. And they play casino. And I used to get a kick out of watching them play casino because they put the card on, ha! I'm gonna get you, old man. And that's the way they did it. You know, that was the casino game. Pine was Muddy's casino buddy.
A lot of the things that the Muddy was doing back in the studio and what have you, Pinetop had a lot to do with the input of it. Once it got on the board with what they're going with it, he had a lot of inputs on the piano lines, where it went, where it should not go, and things in that order.
Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you. Got my mojo working, just don't work on you. I want to love you so bad, Joe, don't know what to do. Going down in Louisiana, get me a mojo hand. I'm going down in Louisiana, get me a mojo hand. I have all these women under my women. Got my mojo working, got my mojo working, got my mojo working, got my mojo working, got my drrrr working, got my mojo working, got my mojo working, got my mojo working, my mojo working, just don't work. Too. I've got a whole lot of tricks, lady. Keep right here all night. Got my mojo working. 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 Got my mojo working, but it just don't work on you. Down in Louisiana, get me a mojo hand. Take it with you when you go. I'm going down in Louisiana, get me a mojo hand. Take it when you saw it, if you want to. I'm going to have Pinetop Perkins moving at my command. Got my mojo work. Got my mojo work. Got my mojo work. Got my mojo work. working. Got my mojo working. Got my mojo working. Got my mojo working.
He's not a copy of Span. He's the original Pinetop, and that's what he did. He played his own style and really added something to Muddy's sound. And with Pinetop, that groove is a mile wide and a mile deep. You know, it's not that he doesn't have little frills here and there and little embellishments, but basically, he's playing the music, and that's Pinetop all over.
But he's one of them, he was like that old school stuff, you know, like gut bucket blues, man, you know. If you wanted to hear some gut bucket blues, that was Pinetop Perkins.
I mean, you couldn't help but hear that piano because I think he's one of the greatest living today in the blues field.
Of course, when I started to hear about the blues was in the 60s, when all the great young white guys from Chicago, like Mike Bloomfield and Paul Butterfield and Elvin Bishop and you name it, they all started picking it up and bringing it to the mainstream culture. And of course, the British brought it back too.
What do you think about those rock and roll bands taking over the blues songs? Like the Rolling Stones, they took a lot of the blues songs and kind of made it their own.
I like the Rolling Stones, but I couldn't play what they was playing. I couldn't play what they was playing.
They took a lot of Muddy stuff, they took some of your stuff and kind of made it their own. Didn't give credit to the people who actually wrote it.
Who did that?
A couple of bands. Well, like Led Zeppelin, that was a big band over there. They took a few songs and kind of took them as their own and didn't give credit.
Nah, I wouldn't know what's going on.
Muddy and Pinetop had a close relationship, and Pinetop says that Muddy Waters was his favorite artist to perform with. The two of them spent a lot of time together on the road, but unfortunately in October of '69, several of the band members were involved in a tragic car accident that wounded Muddy and killed the driver. Pinetop was also in the car, but he managed to escape without any serious injuries.
I was with Pine, of course, when Muddy had his accident. We played that night and left out after the gig, going back to Chicago.
This young kid and his girlfriend was coming down the road. I mean, the speed limit was like 55, but he must have been doing about 65 or better. And he run off the road. We was all looking at him. And when the car came back up on the road, he was sitting right in front of that, right in front of the station wagon. It just like that. And this was so, at a blink of an eye. The car, somehow, I don't know how, I've been trying to figure it out yet, how did all this happen today? How did that car get turned around going the same way we were going? Just like that. And it was 3 people died just like that.
Muddy and Pine were in the back seat. Me, Sammy Longhorn, and Bo pulled Muddy and Pinetop's out onto the grass. And Muddy looked up at Bo and said, "Man, I'm all broken up." And that's the way that accident was. The police came, and then we were out of work for a few months. And then when Muddy came back to work, he had to have crutches, or he would start sitting down. Before that, Muddy used to play standing up all the time, you know, and he was really quite a great showman. But after that, he kind of slowed down a little bit.
Kansas City, Kansas City, here we come, me and the boys. Kansas City, Kansas City, here we come. They got some crazy little women, and I'm really gonna get me one. I'll be standing on the corner, up Street and Vine. Stand on the corner, 12th Street and Vine. I love my Kansas City woman in a bottle of this good drinking wine. Now I may take a plane, may take a train, and if I have to walk, I'll be getting it the same. Kansas City, here we come. They got some pretty little women down, I'm really gonna get me one. Yes, Mustang. When we quit Muddy, they named the band after me, which is called that thing they used to call the band.
The legendary blues band. It was created in 1980 by the former members of the Muddy Waters Band. Muddy was heartbroken when the band left him, but it was too late to do anything about it. Muddy died only 3 years later, in 1983, and to this day, Pinetop says that losing his band was what killed him.
Jerry Portnoy and Bobby Gold and all us was together there, and Willie Big Eyed Smith and Calvin Jones, we was together there for a while. After a while, Calvin Hill moved down here in Mississippi. Then the band went to splitting up, and then we went to playing with different ones then.
After a few years and 2 albums with the legendary blues band, Pinetop left to pursue a solo career. He released his first solo album in 1988 entitled After Hours, accompanied by Little Mike and the Tornadoes, and released on Blind Pig Records.
When I really started listening to Pinetop is when they went on their own, and I ran into them a couple of times on the road, and and I walked over and said, "You don't want to play with Muddy Waters, did you?" Yep.
Pinetop was enjoying some success as a solo artist, but his old whiskey drinking days caught up with him. In 1994, he was placed under house arrest for multiple DUIs. In 1995, he was forced to undergo alcohol treatment, and at the age of 82, he quit drinking.
Yeah, I enjoyed my whiskey then, but I don't now, because I quit about 11 years ago. At least I didn't quit. They made me quit down in Chicago. Had me locked up in my house 9 months with a thing on my leg. And every time I go out my door too full, some yucking big fat police, somebody put me in jail. I got to shoot, so let that stuff alone. I don't crave for it no more.
Yeah, we done hang out, we done had some fun. Really. But Pinetop want to change me. We still have some fun, but we ain't we don't go out and do like we used to do. But we still looks at the girls. You go can't help it.
In 1996, Pinetop embarked on his first tour since successfully completing his alcohol treatment, and in the same year he met Pat Morgan, who would later become his manager. Pat has been managing Pinetop ever since.
Because I know she's always talking about what's happening every time I see her, which is like over the last, 8-10 years or something like that. She be talking about Pinetop, what Pinetop is up to. And, it sounds like she looks out for you and you look out for the music.
Well, that's good to have somebody, to look out for you. This is something hard to find for blues musicians.
That's true.
Because mostly managers and record companies, they want people that gonna sell 10 or 15 million copies,
Right.
and they ain't got time for people like us. So it's very nice that you can find someone that cares enough to hang with us, and see that we get things done for us, you know.
After signing with Pat Morgan, Pinetop released a string of successful albums, including Born in the Delta in 1997 and the Legends album with guitarist Hubert Sumlin in 2000. Both albums received Grammy nominations. In 2001, Pinetop celebrated his 88th birthday.
Well, first of all, I wanted to congratulate you on a recent birthday. I heard it was a memorable one, and you got a special birthday present for this one?
Yeah, I had to give a brand new piano for my birthday. I turned all of them, got the name on the keys and stuff, and Marshall, and we had a bunch of them. I went home and come back, went in my house. Big piano said to me, I thought I was in somebody else's house. He said, that's yours. I said, all right, then, thank you.
How do you sneak a piano in? That's going to be tough.
Yeah, sneak the piano in while I was gone fishing.
One of the things that really amazes me about Pinetop's longevity is that I don't believe I've ever seen him eat anything but McDonald's. He's offered food at festivals, as we all are, some of it very healthful, and he'll pick at it and be very polite, and then he'll whisper to somebody, hey, can we go to Mickey D's?
I got 2 double cheeseburgers and 4 apple pies.
Why 4 apple pies? Why so many?
I'll give them away.
No matter where you go, Japan, wherever, it's got to be McDonald's. I guess if they didn't have a McDonald's in the country, he wouldn't go there, you know. But he say, man, can't you do? I love him, he says, and he eats them too, and he's no problem. They take him to the doctor to have a checkup. He don't have no problem. He's been smoking for. He's 99. He must have been smoking for 75 years, and lungs is cleaner than mine, and I don't smoke.
Just before he got with Muddy, you know, but I had saw him before then, and so we got to be just like that. What a guy he is, man! What a musician he is. Not only a musician, but let me tell you something. He got some of God in him, man. You better believe that. Look at him. If God let me live to see that age, and look that good. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Because I'm already blessed.
The thing that I think I admire the most about Pinetop, and always have, is that he is a musician first, before he is an icon. He, every time I hear him, I mean, he may play songs that I've heard him do many times before, but he plays them differently every time, and he's obviously exploring different things. You know, as he's gotten older, it doesn't seem to have diminished. If anything, I see him becoming more playful with the music and more deep into it. I also notice that when I walk in, when he's playing, he very often will play one of his songs, which is called Big Fat Woman. And I've always thought that was a tribute to me. I'm sure he did it many years before, but he always seems to do it when I walk in. And that song makes me feel great.
The big fat mama with the meat shaking on her bone. Ah, the big fat mama, meat shaking on her bone. Time it shake down some hope man's gonna come. The big fat mama, eat the big fat mama. It's a heavy hip mama. Get the big fat mama. Big fat mama with the meat shaking on her bone. Still a big fat mama. Big fat mama. The big fat mama. Yes, the big fat mama.
Pinetop just played the kind of music that I guess it catches your eye, it catches your ear, and it catches the soul. You know, he's just a soul man he plays the blues like it's supposed to be played.
And the instrumentalist of the year on piano for the 10th straight year. Do you know who that is? Pinetop Perkins.
I really started seeing him in Austin when he would come to Antone's, to play Antone's birthday parties on the 4th of July or the middle of July weekend every year. That's when I really got to sit with him and visit.
But Pine has always been so nice. And Pinetop has always been just one of the guys, you know. He didn't ever act. I think Pinetop is one of those guys who doesn't even know how cool he is, you know. He doesn't even know how famous. He doesn't even know the impact of what he's had on the world.
I think Pinetop is deserving of all the handies that he's won, and I mean that sincerely. I think that he plays at 90 the way I wish I were playing, the way most people wish they were playing, in their prime 40-year-old, having learned everything they could, right at the peak of their powers. I think Pinetop's still doing that. He's like a kid who can't stand to watch the swimmers swimming. He has got to be in the water, and Pinetop is that way about the piano.
The first time I really realized Pinetop's love and commitment to playing the piano was a show we did in Monroe, Michigan. So we go over to sound check, and well, we were done with sound check, and everybody was going to go back to their rooms to rest. Well, Pinetop said, I think I'll just stay here and play this piano. So he stayed there, and hours later we got back, he was still there, still playing that piano, still having a good time. So we did the show, and it was great. I mean, it was just unbelievably wonderful. So after the show, we go back to the hotel, and there's a blues band in the bar of the hotel. Pinetop leaned over to me and said, you still got that electric piano in your car? And I said, yeah. He said, could we go get it? Pinetop played with that band all night. I mean, maybe I got to play a song or two, but he was having, and the band it was like they had died and gone to heaven. Here was Pinetop Perkins playing with them. And he didn't care. He was just playing. I got tired. I went to bed. Everybody else went to bed. I think he closed the place down. I was concerned, though, because I knew that if I didn't get him on that airplane, I didn't see that he got on that airplane the next day, Bob Margolin was not going to be happy with me. And you want Bob to be happy. So I woke up the next morning, set my alarm, got up. It was early. Got up and went to knock on Pinetop's room to make sure he was up. And there was no answer. And I thought, oh dear. So I just happened to wander down to the lounge area. And Pinetop was up. He was up. He was partying. And he was chatting up the waitress there and having some breakfast. So he got on the plane, and I guess he did a great show for Bob. He's just amazing. I mean, nobody can keep up with Pinetop.
In 2004, Pinetop released Ladies' Man, another critically acclaimed album which got him yet another Grammy nomination. In 2005, he finally received the coveted Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement.
You know, Pinetop, me and him go back 100 years. How many years we go back, Pinetop?
Knowing him, about 90 of them.
Knowing him and working with him. And he's a wonderful person. And if I didn't have a husband, we'd marry.
All right.
You think that would happen?
Oh, yeah, that'll happen.
You know, I'm crazy about him. He's such a sweet guy.
I consider him the best blues pianist by far. I was very lucky at a young age coming up under a legendary player, Luther Allison, to actually see Pinetop with Muddy Waters. And then the past 3 years ago, I had the chance of playing with Pinetop at the WC Handy Awards with Big Eye Smith and also Bob Mangola, and that was a big treat for me to actually get a chance to meet and actually perform with.
In 2004, Pinetop moved to Austin, Texas, where he still lives today. On his 92nd birthday, he received the key to the city, and Austin's mayor declared his birthday, July 7th, Pinetop Perkins Day.
Pinetop he's unbeatable. Man, he's got such dynamic personality with what he's playing, and it just comes across. He's so dedicated to what he's doing, and he stayed the course. He's a real institution in the blues.
These guys are like a shining light, you know what I mean? These guys invented something unique to this country. Obviously, it goes all the way back to its African roots, but these guys created this thing out of a tin whistle and a $12 Stella, you know, and that's where it all started for them. And then they realized that, you know, maybe we're doing something here.
If you hadn't been a musician, what do you think you would have been doing?
That's what I wouldn't know, because I ain't got no good book learned since to get no good jobs or nothing like I wanna. I don't know what I've been doing. I really need to put me in the poorhouse, I guess.
But the thing is that they invented something unique to this country, and that they don't get their due for until days like this, when he's 91 years old and you don't have that much longer. Hopefully he realizes the impact he's made on the world now.
I don't want much, just want a little bit. Don't want it all, just want a little bit. Teeny weeny bit, a teeny weeny bit of your love. Take you forever, and we'll have a peace of mind. I could rain and rain and love you until the end of time. Teeny weeny bit of your love. Turn the lamp down low. I'm gonna sip a little kiss. Our rain will tell you about the good things you have, miss.
Yeah, I come up the hard way. I come up on my own. My mother and them didn't raise me. I raised myself. I used to sing old song all the time. I've had my fun if I don't get well no more. My health didn't fail me and I'm going down slow.
Well, that's a beautiful song, and you sing Going Down Slow about as deep as I've ever heard it, but you don't seem to be going down at all that I can see.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere. Pinetop got some more things to
Look like the people like what I'm doing. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I love that. Yeah.
Now I've had my fun. If I don't get well, no. So have had. Well, I've had my fun. If I don't get well, no. Now my health is failing me. Baby, and I'm going down slow. Sure is. Now I said, right, my mother, and tell her the shape I'm in. Please write my mother and tell her the shape I'm in. Pray for me. And forgive me for my sins.